You are now on the Michael Stone journey. Buckle up. So that's my goal though, Mike, is if I can wake up every day and do what I love, and preferably I like doing art and stories that are about important things that'll change people. Like my film that I produced was about the opiate crisis. The play I just directed was about autism. The next film that I'm going to do is that I'm producing is about a huge cultural and historic event. I just don't want to, I mean, not knocking it, but I don't want to do like movies about like me and you robbing a bank. Like, yeah, that'd be fun to do one time, but I'd rather do stuff that's far reaching. I'd rather do like a Holocaust movie, followed by like a suicide movie, followed by like an AIDS movie. You know, like.
So, Sunday night, are you like most people, tomorrow's Monday, or like me, I don't remember the last night that I wasn't charged about the next day.
Yeah, I don't even have weekends.
I can't even really remember a time when I'm trying to think of when was the last like night that I wasn't fucking charged about the next day.
I'll be honest with you. It hasn't happened in a while, Mike, but it was when I used to work in treatment.
Yeah.
Because I had weekends off, so I'd be looking at Sunday night going, I have like a 5-day of hell to run through this 5 days of hell to get to another break. Like, that's how I used to look at it, but then somebody told me that I should stop thinking like...
That's just a temporary fucking stop along the way to where you're going, though. Yeah. So, I mean, if you're sitting around and it's Sunday night and you're like, fuck, tomorrow's Monday.
I don't feel that
that's a problem.
I'm looking at it like what I gotta tackle. Like, I look at it like, okay, I have to film this video with Mike, because I'm with you on Mondays. So Sunday night, I'm on Monday. Like, I'm like, okay, this is the checklist of shit I have to provide. I have to do these things. This is part of my arrangement. This is my agreement is to uphold this responsibility. So I have to do this responsibility Monday. But then instead of me saying, I have to do this, because I changed my perception like a year and a half ago to instead of saying I have to do this, I get to do this. I get to do this. This is a privilege. To wake up every day and go create is a privilege. So it should be treated like a privilege.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's what I think.
But I don't look at it like as a kid. As a kid, I was such a bad student. I'd be like Sunday night, like, oh my God, I would hope Monday never came.
Right.
You ever go to sleep and hope that the next day never comes? No. I used to. Mm-mm. I don't live like that anymore. But whenever I start to get like in a place where I'm negative thinking or I'm like complaining, I have to check myself because I have nothing to complain about.
Right.
At all. A lot of people would love to be in your position or would love to be in my position. So I need to not be complacent and not take for granted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they say you can't always, or you don't know what you have till it's gone. I don't want things that in my life to go. So I'm trying to realize what I have while I have it. You know what I mean?
Okay, but see, but in my thinking, a hurricane could come wipe everything away tomorrow.
Right.
And I would start over. No problem.
Well, yeah, but see, you're the type of person...
I'd fucking be back to starting over to the first fucking... If a hurricane came and wiped out the fucking internet, or every website I have...
I think that'd be awesome.
I'd fucking start over. I'd be like, okay, cool.
Yeah,
Monday,
but Mike, what do you do?
I gotta get fucking in there Monday morning and fucking start over.
Yeah, but out of most people I know a lot of people, Mike, you are one of the people that's the strongest with change that I know. And most people...
Yeah, I'm kind of good at it.
But including myself,
I've done a lot of it.
That's the hardest thing for most people to deal with, though, is change. I have a hard time with change. I know most people do. And there's a great quote that says...
I'm adaptable.
This is one of my favorite quotes. It's about change. And it says, the only thing in... Life is like the seasons. The only thing constant is change.
Right.
That's the only constant. So you better get used to it. But you are better at it than most people I've come across.
Yeah,
what is your secret? How do you do it, though?
I don't know.
I don't know either, but I want that. I want that. I want that to be tangible so I can apply it. So
I
you're
guess
just
it's
like,
all about it's all about how your outlook on life is. I mean, that's how I'm like fucking, I can adapt to like anything that happened.
but do you think it's because of what you went through in your life? Or do you think you were like that before the shit you went through? You know what I mean? Or do you think it was like you went through so much shit that like it forced you to like grow into that, whatever change comes, whatever? Or were you like that before all
No,
the shit?
I don't know if I was like that before.
Yeah, I would think probably the
Before it wouldn't
experiences.
matter because you take enough oxy, what the fuck does it matter?
Yeah, bring change.
Bring it
Whatever.
on.
One thing ain't changing. Me nodding out.
Yeah.
Me getting this
Absolutely.
good nod on. Chris Alonso, ladies and gentlemen, has joined
How
the
many
Michael
nods have
Stone
you had
journey.
on?
Sir? Here, I'm gonna sit here, Michael. Join us. You are on the Michael
No.
Stone journey.
I can see you. I
You
don't
are.
know how I would.
You know what we're talking about right now?
It's because
Where's that light?
it's being able to see the big picture and not worry about shit like that.
We're talking about change.
I look at the big picture of life in the world.
You gotta be more specific, because that still doesn't give me that thing you have.
I don't know. It's hard to.
Let me give you an
Somebody
example.
like
If I'm looking at life on the
this.
big picture, okay, let me take my relationship for example. If I'm
Right.
going in the big picture, me and Jessica are gonna be together and make a lot of money and live happily ever after. Then change comes and she leaves me for Chris Alonso. Right?
See, but in my mind, I say, "Fuck that." If my wife goes,
Right,
I can
see,
find another
right,
one.
right. But me
I'll
looking
find
at the
another
big
fucking
picture
wife.
doesn't make me go, oh, okay, that's a change I'm okay with.
I wouldn't be okay
So how
with
do
it,
I like,
but I know that I would.
It would be
Adapt.
It would be different though if it was another man that you didn't know.
Yeah,
okay,
I
let's
would-
say it's, well, let's say,
You have to put a different scenario.
let's say
You
she
can't-
just disappeared. I didn't know what happened. She just,
That's another scenario.
A change happened, or it was another man. My point is, if it's you, if it's another man, if it's Mike, if it's Joe Schmo, if she just disappears, if she spontaneously combusts, the feeling of the change is the same. Huge change. So how do I accept what we're getting at, Chris, before you came in, is that Michael Stone is not your normal human being when it comes to change. He can take change and be like, okay, what? Hurricane just came and wiped out the internet and all my websites I've ever created? I'll start over. My wife left me? Whatever, I'll start over. Like, he's just like Iron Man like that, and most people aren't. Most people, the hardest thing for them to deal with is change. But like that great statement says, life is like the seasons, the only thing constant is change, so we better get used to it.
Right.
How do I get that tangible what he has to accept change so easily? He's saying, look at the big picture. I'm saying that's not enough for me to accept change on the same level he does. You know what I'm saying?
I would be taking it back to a specific thing. I would be sad, yes. But
So he is human.
I would be the next 2 days later than that, I'd be like, okay, what the fuck you gonna do?
So you live in the solution.
Yeah.
That's part of it.
That's the answer right there, because I always live in the solution. Absolutely.
So that's something that's tangible to me. Looking at the
Yeah,
big
I
picture,
always
not
live
so
in the
much.
solution.
Me going, don't focus on the problem. Don't focus on that Jessica just spontaneously combusted when she left me for Chris Alonso and disappeared.
No, that's true.
Just live in the game plan.
That's not the solution.
Live in the solution. Yeah, you're living in the solution. See, that to me, as far as how you can handle change, is a lot more tangible than look at the grand picture.
So where does this all come from?
Where does what all come from?
Where does all this wisdom about living in the solution, where does it come from?
With you, you mean? Experience.
No.
God.
Originally,
Okay, let's rewind. You said that you weren't always this good at change. The thing that made you this good at it was the things you've been through. So that to me says that's the experience has made you have that gift.
no. Yes, but experience plus spiritual
Enlightenment.
wisdom from Kabbalah, mostly. Mostly from Kabbalah is where I get.
But you take
Everything
someone
I
like
do.
you that's been through the stuff you've been through,
Exactly.
and then you introduce Kabbalah
Right,
into their world.
Right.
That's
So,
what makes this product we see here.
Yeah. That's what makes it.
I just,
Because
man, it's so hard to, I mean, especially
I
a big
was
change.
telling Debbie yesterday, this therapy, EMDR. So basically, trauma, PTSD, I guess. So she got her certificate in EMDR.
Okay.
It's like for trauma and PTSD
How to, like,
type stuff.
How to, be
Yeah.
a therapist for people with those.
Right.
Okay.
So the basics of it are eye movement.
Of the person?
Eye movement, moving your eyes back and forth, moving your eyes rapidly back and forth and stuff like that.
Says
So
what,
it's huge now.
But
It's
what's
like it's this big fucking therapy now.
Wait a minute, I'm confused though. You're saying the eye movement of the person helps them, or it determines that they had post-traumatic?
No, that's their therapy.
Oh, I'm going, welcome to therapy, Mike. Move your eyes.
Yes.
What?
So I'm telling her yesterday
That's weird.
that I learned EMDR, who was a recent, I don't know, 20, 30 years ago, as far as I know, is when it started.
Okay.
So EMDR didn't really start 30 years ago. I was telling her that there was a book 400 years ago, 300 or 400 years ago, written by one of the great, brilliant fucking rabbis 300 or 400 years
About the
ago.
eye thing?
Talks exactly, there's a whole book on moving your fucking eyes back and forth
Really?
to take care of trauma and probably wasn't called PTSD.
Yeah,
It was called Get Your Shit Together back then,
it was
probably.
called something bad happened to you, but that's not the
Yeah.
excuse for you being stupid.
There's a whole book on it.
400, 300 or
300 or
400
400 years ago.
That's crazy.
And I'm like, okay, that's just par for the course with most everything that you thought came around in the last 100
Recently,
years.
yeah.
90% of it is
Recycled ideas.
3,500 years old.
Huh.
Yeah,
That's really interesting.
right, because everything got lost. Let's say whatever wisdom and teachings were passed down, teacher to student, for 1,000 years. 2,000 years ago, it all stopped.
What, Jesus came and stopped?
Yeah.
Well, why did it stop?
I wasn't going to say that, but that's right around the same time. So
Well, yeah,
maybe
like
a little
2000
after
years.
that.
Why did
So
it
all
stop?
of the
though?
stuff stopped. I don't know. A bunch of rabbis got together and decided,
We're gonna do something
we're not
big.
going to keep fucking passing down this secret knowledge.
We're gonna kill it right now.
We're going to come up with a whole new way to fucking pray. And a whole new way to... Everything got put like down into like book prayer type stuff.
Okay.
So it used to be passed down from father to son or teacher to student, and it was all more spiritual and more
Organic.
right. God was like
And
way
intimate.
more aware. That people were like way more aware
Hmm.
back then. So
Wow.
for whatever reason, they got together. They decided we're to stop teaching this shit. So that's why a lot of it got lost. Then a couple thousand years, maybe 1,600 years after that, it started again. Some newer, 400 years ago maybe, 500 years ago, some newer
So it's constantly
brilliant fucking
evolved.
genius rabbi who was a 15-year-old fucking protege.
So let me ask you this. So the cliche book prayer stuff I'm getting is really this edited, evolved over time through so many different hands, changed into what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
For just real far away. I guess the further we go in time, the further we get from that root, right?
Right. The further away from Sinai, further away from the temple,
From
period.
the real.
When you walked around and there wasn't really a, I don't know even how to explain it, but there was definitely easier to be aware that
God's presence.
spirituality or
God's
was
presence.
presence was much easier felt, let's say,
That makes
back
sense.
then. Right, so then the further you get away from it,
The further we are.
another
from it.
1,000 years or from
Right, like if I'm like,
another
there's
1,000
God, and I'm just getting further and further.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, not that you could see, not that
Right.
you gotta. That's why it's hard to explain.
But over time-
obviously, you weren't like walking around back then where God was like
Yeah.
seeable.
God's like walking, holding your hand.
No, but
right.
the whole like
But the
aura
feeling-
of it, yeah,
and
it's a lot
miracles and
easier.
stuff
You
were
didn't
probably
need any
more.
books. They didn't use fucking books back then like we do now.
Because you could probably just experience God everywhere.
Right.
Makes sense.
So then they started with the Kabbalah teachings 400 or 500 years ago. This one, it was called the Ari. Genius kid. Started as a kid.
Right.
He
This
knew
the
the whole
13-year-old?
Torah back and forth
This
when he
the
was
13-year-old?
15. He was like 15. He knew everything.
Okay, so not
No
your average
teachers
kid.
could even teach him back then. Not even the most brilliant fucking
Hmm.
rabbis or whatever. So he started coming up with his meditation type stuff.
His version.
Back then, they used to like meditate into other fucking states of consciousness daily.
Like taking time
Daily.
traveling, basically.
Right. So
Out of
all that
body
was
experiences.
lost. Yes.
Mm.
Like spiritual experiences that you can elevate yourself into different states of
Of biblical
consciousness.
proportions.
Yeah. So that used to be done like daily. So these guys started it up again like 400 whatever years ago. And then like in the, I don't know, this century, like 1920s or 30s, it
Not long
started
ago.
getting like a little more popularized. And because guaranteed there wasn't like any fucking Jews in the 1800s or like that even knew what Kabbalah was really.
What, in the 1800s you mean?
Yeah,
it was just
so
like
it went
Kabbalah
away
was
again.
dead in the water?
Yeah, it wasn't really promoted and they didn't want people learning it.
So it was just dead in its
Yeah, there was
tracks.
all these rules passed like by the authorities, Jewish authorities, whatever, passed about
The Jewish
how
politicians.
old you had to be before you could even start learning Kabbalah and shit like that. So then some other teachers were like, all right, we need to bring this to the world. So that happened, I don't know, 40, 50 years
It's
ago.
like underground movement first, kind of.
Yeah, so that's when it's really started getting more popular.
Chris Alonso.
I'm leaving.
Well, I'm gonna leave in a minute with you, but you're gonna join us for a minute.
So we're gonna say goodbye to Chris.
Well, yeah, jump
Justin.
jump on the end of our video.
Anyway, that's the history basically of it.
Chris Alonso, from what you know about Michael Stone, if there's one question you'd love to ask Michael Stone, what would it be? No, Chris, you're on the Michael Stone journey right now.
Can I smoke weed in my podcast?
Can I smoke weed in my podcast? Probably not. Kidding.
I don't know.
Because you are on the Michael Stone journey right now.
I don't know about
I feel like it's moving.
It's a crazy path.
Well, we're talking
where
about
change is
why
the only
living
thing
in the
that's constant.
solution is
Well, I know about change right now.
learned.
What do you know about change right now?
You know what I know about change right now.
Yeah, but they don't, and he doesn't.
Well, who's they?
That's the world.
That's,
Well, I've gone
the
through some
world.
big change, and I think I've handled it pretty fucking good.
I think so too. Tell him though.
yeah.
Well, I mean, I was with my girl for like 9 years, and in December, you know, I left the house. She was done.
That was after our first. Wait,
Yeah.
Yes.
Was that after our?
Yes, because we talked about my lovely
After his
fiance.
interview, his second act interview. Yep. You haven't talked to him
Where the
about
fuck
this.
did she go?
She spontaneously combusted
No,
and
we
left
just-
him for
we-
Chris Alonso.
Yeah, we just it ended in December. I had to move out and move into this couple's house just for a minute until I found a place, and then I
9
finally
years is a
found
long
place.
time.
And then I found a place and
She have kids?
stepdaughter. Yeah, I've known her since she was born.
She drink?
No, she's
Do
recovered.
drugs?
No, she's recovered.
She's
nine
been doing
years.
NA for 9 years.
And you don't.
Do drugs? Smoke weed, but I don't do drugs. No, I don't drink.
So what happened?
It reached a point that she fell out of love with me. I don't know, we worked on so many things, and then came a point where it was too late. Long story short, because I
Because
can't
you
really.
didn't know the 3 A's.
What was that?
Which we will get into at some other point.
Well, you can't tell me.
Yeah, you gotta tell us what they are.
At least what
We'll
they
get into
are.
them later, but tell
They'll
us
tell you
what they
what they are later, but
All comes from the same shit. All comes from the same wisdom,
are. Kabbalah.
the 3 A's.
What? Okay, so what are the
That's
three?
how to, the 3 A's are how to make your wife happy. Attention,
attention,
affection,
affection,
appreciation.
appreciation. Those were done. Sometimes told not to. So, I mean, we can't. Dr. Emmett Brown said it best. the greatest mystery in the universe is women. And hey, man, you can't make people think the way you want them to think. You can't make people love you. You can't make people. You can't change other people.
Good thing you didn't get married, not good, so.
Yeah, I know, but I had a stepdaughter. I love the shit out of her. I've known her since she was born, so.
That'll never change.
But like, it's just, you move on. And I refuse this time to let something like this tear me into a hole of going back and drinking or just not giving a shit. So I switched up and said, for the first time, what's Chris need? Like, how does he feel today? I never, so I told you on the podcast, I mean, I go to therapy now, I go to psychiatry, I'm doing well. And
Wasted energy sitting around.
wasted
worrying
energy,
about
man, wasted energy. I went to dinner by myself dinner, do things like that.
Yeah, when's the last time you did that in the last 9 years? Right.
Haven't.
And you know what else?
that. Shit happens every day. It's just like, to me, it's a different thing. Not that it's not
It's weird,
normal.
though. It's weird.
normal.
I think the
Fucking
older
people
I
break
get.
up every day.
Yeah, it's normal.
Right.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's
So-
not the end of the world. Yeah, I love her. I miss her, but I'm not pausing. You know what I mean?
can't.
I think if anything, I'm going to take advantage of with this is to really do what I'm
Ignite you.
destined to do and get ignited. And
Yeah.
I think that I think my destiny's been told already by the universe to me a million times, and I think it's to inspire, to push, to thrive people around me, and I had to feel that way myself before I did it, and I'm getting there, man. I feel so good. I mean,
I see it.
having you in a different place too. We've never been together working on shit clear-minded until
Maybe you guys should
until
make a
year
movie
ago.
about it.
You know what I'm saying? You
I
and I
break
have
up.
always been fucked up.
I was
We've always
fucked
had
up. I was
relationship
fucked up
problems,
for a long time.
relationship problems, drug problem with me too, drinking issues. I mean the spice you and I, bro. I mean that was an issue for a while.
Well, listen, dude.
But what do we do?
All of my problems, I didn't have relationship problems.
But-
I didn't have those problems.
Yeah,
you know what
you
problems
had
I had?
those
I had a Justin problem.
Yeah, well,
and that Justin problem created all my other fucking problems,
Sure.
bro.
Well, yeah. Well, I had a Chris problem too. I can't blame anybody else.
That was my thing. It wasn't just the problem was me.
Right.
And 99% of anything that ever happened to me, I had a piece
Yeah,
of
of course. Yeah.
I had a hand in it. So once that perception changed everything, but I see a difference in you too. Man.
Oh yeah,
I feel it.
I feel it too.
I feel
And like
it.
I said,
Because you're probably walking on eggshells for a year.
Oh, not for
Before this.
for a year,
For a
How
couple
many
more than
years?
a
a
year.
lot of years.
No.
I couldn't do it.
I don't even know that. I think too, and no disrespect to her, but I think that not everybody's good for everybody. Me and Mike can be good people, but not good for each other.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, I think she held you back as an artist.
Well, here's the thing: as an artist, you go into these relationships explaining like, hey, like here's the I'm
what
I'm
That
doing.
shit gets old for women.
So as I change jobs and work 2
If
jobs
I'm a
and 3
fucking
jobs,
girl, I'm not standing
she's
for
looking
that.
at me going, "Where's the money from
I'm not
Premium
standing for that
Consumption?
if I'm a girl.
Where's the money from
Are
Devil
you
Street?"
gonna let your daughter stand
That's
for
what
that?
she would say.
Sure.
She
I'm
would
not
say,
gonna
no,
tell
I'm not
mine
either.
to fucking
Yeah, I
stand
know,
for
but she
that.
would say stuff like that.
But I mean, I provided. It's not that Chris is like a broke artist. No, everything was paid. That's why I worked 2 jobs. But she's like, well, what Devil Street? Where's all the money for that? Who's paying you to go to Orlando for Edge of Madness? How are you you're losing work. Like, it's always because they don't see some people, if the other person is not an
You
artist in
can't
some kind of way.
be with someone that's gonna.
She doesn't
step
get it
on
like
your
Jessica does
dreams.
because Jessica's an artist. Jessica goes, yes, babe, go. This is important. She doesn't see, well, why are you going to do that? You're spending money to go to this film festival.
Yeah, but that's most women. That's not Jessica.
Right.
That's most fucking girls.
That's most, right, that's what I'm saying. And that's where the butt of the heads, and that's a lot of my relationships that didn't work out with
And
them.
my problem was throughout my
But I
life,
was
dude.
fucking-
I never really I would always end up with film. You know what I mean? Like I end up with the notion of even try and people. Well, you're gonna make it one day. Fuck, yeah, I'm sick of hearing that shit, bro. I am because I am not trying to make it. I fucking did it already. I got 2 feature films. I work with the filmmaker. One of my best friends is an actor. We're keeping on doing it. I did it, dude. Fuck you. Like, you're gonna make it, Chris.
That's all what making
And
it
I
is
tell
to
people,
you.
I told that the other day. I heard it for the last time. I'm like, oh, how was the festival? It was great. You know, and but you're gonna make it one day. I said, go to fucking Amazon.com and you'll see my movie. My name's on there. I can die tomorrow, bro. There's films there until the whole world blows up and there's no fucking internet to be found. I've got something out there.
I hear you.
Google my fucking name.
And you're an award-winning director.
You know, I may be poor, I may be working my ass off, but dude, fuck, I've made some films, man. You know.
Well, let me throw a little...